An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sudden stream had no fear for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you are wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build this bridge at the evening tide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. "Good friend, in the path I have come," he said, "there follows after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm has been naught to me. To that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge for him."
Good evening. Welcome to our 30th annual Hall of Honor program. If this is your first visit to a Hall of Honor program, we're glad you came. If you have attended before, we're glad you've come back. It has been called the greatest single hour of the school year. There is warmth and great pride in the evening that honors sons and daughters of the Fairborn City Schools and the Fairborn community. There are people here from coast to coast and many points in between. They are friends, relatives, neighbors, classmates, teachers, and acquaintances. We come together to honor these people who have brought great credit to themselves, to the Fairborn schools, and the Fairborn community. We come together to honor these people for their lives of service, achievement, and commitment. As the colors are brought forward, please stand and then join in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Air Force Junior ROTC Cadet Major Austin Hilker, Honor Guard Commander, and remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Reverend Ken Majors, pastor of Christ Community Church. Honor Guard Commander, please present the colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you bow your heads? Dear Heavenly Father, tonight our hearts are filled with pride and much gratitude. First of all, we are grateful that you have given the gift of your Son, by whom we have everlasting life. We are grateful for our wonderful country, that for decades, even centuries, we have enjoyed that wonderfully unique thing called freedom. We are grateful for your Holy Scripture that instructs us to give honor to whom honor is due. Tonight, these alumni that have graced this auditorium are worthy of the honor that will be given to them. They have made all of us proud to be a part of Fairborn City School System. We say thank you for the opportunity to be a part of Fairborn's Hall of Honor. Father, we ask that you would continue to bless our Fairborn City Schools, that you would continue to bless our wonderful city. And God, thank you for continuing to bless the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. He was born, raised, and educated in Southern California. Then a job transfer brought him to the Dayton area. He soon met Donna and her 3 children, Tara, Joe, and Mike. He and Donna were married and moved to Fairborn, where Donna owned and operated a flower shop. He became involved with various volunteer activities, including the City of Fairborn Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, where he served for 7 years. He also serves on the steering committee of the Ohio Coalition for Equity and Adequacy of School Funding, and is vice president of Ohio Public Education Partners, both statewide advocacy groups supporting Ohio public schools and the students they serve. Elected to the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education in 2013, he currently serves as its president. May I present Andrew Wilson, president of the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons. Welcome, everybody. This is a night where we honor 7 individuals that have either been a product of the Fairborn City school systems or have been instrumental in educating our young people. And if you about it, every one of you in this audience owes a great deal of gratitude to all of the teachers who have made your lives and your position in life possible. So it's a great honor to be up here and be part of this presentation, and I hope you enjoy the stories that you hear of how these people have progressed from their Fairborn days on through the rest of their careers, and what they're doing now.
Many of Fairborn City Schools' outstanding students are participating in these enshrinement activities. Students participating in the Friday morning inductee speaker sessions, vocalists in the chamber chorale, instrumentalists in the orchestra and jazz ensemble, cadets of the honor guard, student ambassadors, ushers and escorts, which together number approximately 170 students, are all representative of today's student body. They help bridge the gap between the time of tonight's inductees and the present student population. It is this connection that helps meet the goal of the Hall of Honor, that the current students might draw inspiration from and establish future goals based on accomplishments of those who have gone before. On stage tonight is one of those students. She is a senior and president of Student Congress, and while at Fairborn High School, she has also been a freshman focus leader, a four-year letterman in tennis and captain this year, a varsity basketball cheerleader, a competition cheerleader, and a member of Muse Machine, prom committee, and varsity club. She plans to attend Wright State University with a major in nursing. May I present Brooklyn Hunter, president of the Fairborn High School Student Congress.
Honor to have had students such as Commander Matthew Arnold, Peter Bates, Dr. Andrew Phelps, Lieutenant Colonel John Hobbs, Dr. David Coker, Mark Neal, and educator Judy Mesher, as a part of Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. The class of 2017, as well as future classes, aspire to play such roles and have a positive impact on others in our community as each of you have. We know the pathway to success can be achieved by the precedents you have set for us. Thank you to each of our honorees for continuing to make students such as myself and members of our community proud to be affiliated with Fairborn City Schools. Congratulations on your induction.
He received his bachelor's degree in special education and health education from the University of Akron in 1987, and his master's degree in educational administration from Ashland University in 1990. He began his educational career as a special education teacher, football, basketball, and softball coach at Morgan High School in 1987. He was a special education teacher at Licking Heights High School, assistant principal at Madison High School, principal of Gorham Fayette Junior Senior High School, and assistant superintendent of Groveport Local School District. Since 1995, he has been superintendent at Southern Local District, Frontier Local School District, Southwest Licking School District, and Lebanon City Schools before his first year at Fairborn City Schools this school year. He has also served as a member of the Buckeye Association of School Administrators and has given frequent presentations at conferences and workshops sponsored by the Ohio School Boards Association. He and his wife Kate reside in Fairborn and are the proud parents of Elena, a student at the high school here, and Lexi, a student at Baker Middle School. May I present the superintendent of Fairborn City Schools, Mark North.
Welcome to the 30th Annual Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor Enshrinement. On behalf of the Fairborn City Schools staff and Board of Education, it is my honor to welcome you to this event. Tonight we honor and recognize the achievements of 7 outstanding graduates and former staff members from Fairborn City Schools. These individuals serve as a source of inspiration for our students today because of their achievements in their chosen fields. Now more than ever, our students need to know that hard work and passion in a chosen career field can make a difference in our community, state, and nation. Your outstanding achievements remind our students from Fairborn that greatness can be achieved that individuals from Fairborn have gone on to serve our country in the military as teachers, business owners, doctors, and broadcasters. Congratulations on your enshrinement tonight, and thank you for serving as positive role models for our students today. Thank you.
The words to the Fairborn alma mater were penned by Harry Smith, class of 1912, who served the Fairborn schools for 40 years and who is enshrined in this Hall of Honor. He set the words to the familiar and well-known music of the Cornell University alma mater. When this segment of the program was first presented in one of the early Hall of Honor ceremonies, it was an instant hit with the audience and now has become a tradition. There is a certain warmth, a mellowness, an almost magical quality about an alma mater that turns back time, fades the years, and brings alive particular scenes of the past. Hear it and enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand and recall your special high school memories as the chamber chorale under the direction of Karen Goretta sings the Fairborn High School alma mater. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce some distinguished attendees of tonight's induction ceremony. You've already met Andrew Wilson, School Board President. I'd also like to introduce the Vice President of the School Board, Katie Millard. Please stand. Also, board members, Jerry Browning, Jerry Luce, and Pat McCourt. Thank you. Also, do we have other elected officials, city, county, state, nationally here? Please stand. Thank you for your attendance. Also, I want to thank all of the Hall of Honor Selection and Induction Committee members, and you can see those names in the program. We would like for those committee members to stand up. We couldn't do this without you, so thank you. Please stand up. Thank you. Then we always have previous Hall of Honor inductees who may be in attendance this evening. So when I call your name, please stand and be recognized. 1993, Jack Gayhart. Class of 1999, Janet Swaim. Class of 2005, Bob Jones. Class of 2007, Bill Arnold and Gene Fisher. Class of 2008, Judy Hobbs. Class of 2012, Ron McDermott, Barb Parsons. Class of 2014, James Hurd. And class of 2016, last year, we have Don DeVault, William Naughton, and Norma Nicola. Anybody else that I might have missed, please stand. Hopefully we got, okay. All right, thank you. Yes, thank you. Sorry that we missed you. Okay, and let's go on then. And we have presenters with us tonight. In addition to our inductees, there are other people on the stage who have an important role in the Hall of Honor ceremony. They are the presenters selected by the honorees who will present the members of the class of 2017 for enshrinement into the Hall of Honor. We're most honored to have these very special guests taking part in the program. She is a 1993 graduate of Fairborn High School, where she was a valedictorian, member of the National Honor Society, and varsity cheerleader. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering from the University of Cincinnati and is currently the operations manager at Red Hot Technologies. In addition, she is a representative for Juice Plus and a member of Kinderwelt of Cincinnati Children's Hospital. She and her husband, Brandon, live in Cincinnati and have two sons, Blake and Alec. Also, a 1994 graduate of Fairborn High School, she was a member of the varsity volleyball team. She attended the University of Cincinnati Business College, where she was a Division I volleyball player. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration and Marketing from Towson University and is currently a Director of Strategic Planning at MetLife. She resides in Wilmington, Delaware, and has two children, Kaylee and Bradley. Tonight, they present their father, Dr. David S. Coker, for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present Kristen Coker niece and Gretchen Coker.
When I was told my dad, David Coker, was being inducted into the Fairborn High School Hall of Fame, the first word that came to my mind was proud. Dad, I'm proud of you for all of your accomplishments as the owner of Town and Country Animal Clinic. Your hard work and dedication shows through the success of your practice and love from your clients and their animals. I'm proud of you for following your passion to heal animals with integrative medicine. You have such a calming effect on the animals. The empathy you have for the animals and your clients is incredible. I'm proud of you for your perseverance to heal the animals, constant research, endless nights of checking on them. Your commitment to these animals shows in everything you do. One of my favorite of so many memories is when Dad had a Chihuahua come in with hypothermia. To help warm him up, he took one of his socks and cut holes out of it for his front and back legs to make a sock sweater. He looked so cute in the incubator. I'm proud of you for all these reasons and many more. And most of all, I'm proud to call you my dad. Congratulations.
She's the valedictorian. I think the last time I was up here, I was doing choir. And let's just say I chose a different path. I got the good stuff. Our dad graduated from Fairborn High School in 1967, where he was a member of the National Honor Society, Student Council, tennis team, and science clubs. Following high school, Dad entered the Ohio State University. Okay. He had a lot of fun being away from college, but at the same time, he was really determined to get through school quick, like most things he does. In his first year, he was selected as chemistry lab assistant among senior grad students. In his second year, he was accepted into the vet school 4 years later, he earned a medical degree without having actually earned an undergraduate degree. In 1973, Dad joined his father, mentor, and our papa, Dr. Ralph Coker, in the vet practice. Over the course of 44 years, he advanced the practice with new technologies, advanced diagnostics, laser surgery, alternative healing approaches, and nutrition. In his spare time, he also built a referral practice to specialize in orthopedic surgery. Although he's a master of surgical methods, in my opinion, his passion is healing and preventative care. He's certified in Healing Touch, which he uses both in his practice life and volunteer work at Cincinnati Ronald McDonald House. Dad works tirelessly to show each and every patient the time and care they deserve. Compassion and community is his heartbeat. He's a member of the Fairborn and Dayton Chambers of Commerce and many professional associations. He and her mother, Terry, have been married for 44 years, and they have 3 children, Kristen, her husband, Brandon, Brian, and his wife, Amanda, and myself. 5 grandchildren, Callie, Bradley, Blake, Alec, and Aiden. And before I give it to Superintendent North, I'm going to do a quick snap. So everybody say hi. Ready? Go. Gotta get him on the talking. Everybody say hi. Okay. Superintendent North, it is our honor and privilege to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, our father, David Coker.
Thanks to the Hall of Honor Committee for their hard work. When I heard about my name being mentioned for this honor from the very beginning, I felt it to be a humbling experience, and it actually has made me very introspective since receiving this honor. I'm very much that way to begin with, so when I had an extra dose of this, it really makes me think. My thank you, Kristen and Gretchen, for that introduction. I really appreciate that. It was very nice of you. I don't want to leave my son Brian out. That's my 3rd child. But I'm sure Barbara, who was very instrumental in this whole program, didn't want me to fill the entire stage with my children. So he graduated from Fairborn High School also. He attended Wright State University and also Sinclair. And he's worked for my clinic for 18 years. Brian and I work great together. He is a good complement to me, and with his managerial and computer skills, it's a nice matchup. My wife, Terry, is in the audience, of course, this evening. She graduated from Fairborn High School in 1970. She attended the University of Kentucky and received her nursing degree from Kettering College. She works closely with me as our practice manager, and she's also very active with our dogs. We have 6 dogs. We've always had a lot of golden retrievers, and a lot of dogs, period, mainly golden retrievers. But she's very active doing conformation and agility, and she also is an international United Kennel Club judge. So she gets to go all over the world judging dog shows. I'm envious. My mother-in-law, Barb Browning, is also in the audience. She works for me as our bookkeeper, and she's been at our clinic for 21 years. And my father-in-law is Ted Browning. My mother, Annabelle Coker, is a very healthy 95-year-old young lady. Mother, would you like to stand? Would you stand up? I forgot to warn her about that, but you did a great job. I'm very proud of her. My father, Ralph Coker, is here in spirit. We practiced together for 18 years. My parents moved to Fairborn in 1946 and built the Town and Country Animal Clinic on Broad Street. Actually, the original building had some of the, it was right after World War II ended, and some of the scrap metal was used in the foundation for our first building. So we're definitely part of the program. Before I start some of these stories, the biggest thing is that the reason I give examples are things that I've been exposed to and have made me grow. Some of them were difficult. There are some are you have to live through to get better or to see what's available. But some of these are examples of things that I've been exposed to that made me grow. But in thinking when I was given this award, I was thinking, what in the world did I get the award for? Because most of what I think of myself is what I do on a day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis. It's not what I've done. Some people I've heard about have done heart valves and have done very specific things. Most of what I have done, hopefully, is given the best care I could possibly have given to the animals that have been brought to my clinic, and given their full attention, given my full attention to them every minute. And that's what I'm most proud of. I was born in 1949 and started working at the clinic at 14 years of age. And after 4 years, my dad informed me to look for another job. Actually, what he was trying to tell me that he wanted me to be under another boss and have another person supervising him instead of just himself. Very smart man. I worked for the Southwestern Portland Cement Company under Tom Wright. Some of these names I really mentioned, they mean a lot to me, but there's a lot of people out there that have been around Fairborn a long time. And so many of these things hooked together, it's amazing. Like his wife was at the Fairborn Methodist Church and worked with my children when they were very young in their school programs. I enjoy the next 2 summers learning about unions, labor gangs, and hot kilns, and real hard work. I think that's also what my father was trying to make me do. Realized I needed to get good grades in college. So my journey began. The 7th grade was an awakening. My first date, I was elected to student council. My first science fair project, I started thinking about joining the tennis team, all in that 1 year. When I think back, I thought, oh my gosh, it always happened in one time. The student council was quite a learning curve. Voting and group decision-making was made easier from the guidance of Mary Lou Andes and Barbara Weber. My science fair project that year was started in orthopedics. I used a dog skeleton to demonstrate bone fracture pinning and plating. My father and I worked closely for 2 years, and I presented it in the 9th grade. I received a superior rating at the state level. The judges were orthopedic surgeons from the Ohio State University Hospital in Columbus, and I'm sure they were very busy individuals who took time out for us. How thoughtful. When I was going through that process, I just thought about me. I didn't realize that they were taking time out to do things for others. And that's the heart of everything I have written down. I hope I'm somewhat like that. I thank Mr. Gilbert, who I saw was introduced to the Hall of Honor last year. He was my 8th grade Ohio history teacher. He encouraged me to participate in the tennis team, and I continued to play in college in the intramural team, another important teacher that helped me along the way. These are several examples of how individuals took the time to guide me. As I grow older, I feel more grateful for these acts of kindness. This reminds me to pay back by taking time with students from elementary to college to participate in career days, shadowing, fulfilling curriculum requirements and externships. A total of 14 individuals who have worked at our clinic have gone on to become veterinarians. My dad and I are very proud of that. My high school experience was enhanced by several great teachers, most noticeably Mr. David Anthony and Mr. Richard Cottrell. I had to look up the first names. Mr. Anthony had just graduated from Princeton, and his energy and enthusiasm made a significant impact on my understanding of math and the theory behind the numbers. Mr. Richard Cottrell taught a course that combined genetics, organic chemistry, microbiology, parasitology. He was the first teacher to put together academics with applications to facilitate problem solving. I did not experience this approach again until I entered veterinary school. I owe him the highest honor I could ever give to any teacher. My high school experience was so enriched, the second quarter of my freshman year in college, I was asked by Dr. Lippincott, who was the head of the chemistry department, to come to his office. I was a scared 18-year-old kid wondering what I had done wrong. I had only been there one quarter. I was pleasantly surprised when he said my testing showed that he wanted me to be a lab assistant. This actually paid for my tuition. I owe this all to my great teachers again. One example after another. An example of someone reaching out to impact my career was Dr. Richard Rudy, head of orthopedics in veterinary school. In my senior year, my own dog, Savvy, a Springer Spaniel, became acutely paralyzed from a herniated disc in his neck. It was Christmas, and Dr. Grudy agreed to meet me at the clinic. After scrubbing in, he informed me that I would be doing the surgery. He would assist. Savvy recovered, and my confidence soared. Talk about an initial boost to your confidence in what you want to do for your life. Early on, my cases always took me to a place where all of my training left me with the feeling that the ultimate fate would lie in that individual's innate ability to heal. I would stand in front of the cage, silently wondering what else I could do. I certainly felt a closeness in the balance of life and death so dependent upon my efforts. 15 years ago, I learned about a course on healing touch in Cincinnati that dealt with energy balance within one's chakras, similar to Reiki. After just one morning session, I knew that is what I had been feeling for several years. They taught me to balance energy within myself, also to use this balance to help other people and animals. Now a routine practice both diagnostically and therapeutically, especially for rescue pets with PTSD, pain, discomforts, other type of things. In the last 2 years, I've also used the Healing Touch to go to Ronald McDonald House in Cincinnati to comfort parents and children. It's been very, very rewarding. I want to do more and more of that. The importance of the human-animal bond is overwhelming. Daily examples are emotional support, humans, people that use their animals for emotional support. Also therapy dogs. I have all kinds of people come to my clinic and they take a lot of their time to go to hospitals and console patients there. They use dogs, cats, and even rabbits. I've even seen turtles used. Putting everything in perspective, I realize how important my early education has been, and I thank all of you for this experience. I am proud to be a part of this program. Thank you.
He is a 1958 graduate of Salina High School. He served with the U.S. Army Military Police for 3 years and was a member of the Fairborn Police Department from 1965 to 1991. Officer Bill was the crime prevention officer in Fairborn, and he developed the junior police program for Fairborn City Schools and helped organize the Neighborhood Watch program. He worked for the Greene County Probation Department, Greene County Common Pleas Court, and is now employed at Handyman Ace Hardware. He is a member of the New Carlisle Masonic Lodge, First Presbyterian Church, the Ohio and Fairborn Fraternal Orders of Police, and the FCS Hall of Honor class of 2007. He and his wife Jane reside in Fairborn. They have a son, Matt, his wife Melissa, and 5 grandchildren, Emily, Margaret, Mara, Mackenzie, and Christopher. Tonight he presents his son, Commander Matthew E. Arnold, for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present William N. Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons. I'm here tonight to present the award to Commander Matthew E. Arnold. Matt is currently a weapons officer on board the USS Ronald Reagan, where he's in charge of more than 320-some sailors. He graduated in '87 from Fairborn High School and was a member of the Capital Choir, the varsity football team, the junior consul on World Affairs, and was a squadron commander for Air Force ROTC. He's earned a bachelor's degree, a science degree, and a bachelor's degree in business administration. Matt joined the Navy in 1987 right after graduation from high school. He recruit training. He went to aviation ordnance training in Milton, Tennessee. And he is deployed aboard the aircraft carriers USS Carl Vinson, USS Independence, USS Kitty Hawk, USS Theodore Roosevelt, USS Harry Truman, and USS George Washington, as well as other naval vessels and naval air stations. He's also been involved in support of enduring freedom and Iraqi freedom. In 1996, he was promoted from Chief Petty Officer to Ensign under the Limited Duty Officer Program, a program that selects only 1% of enlisted sailors to become commissioned. He has received numerous awards and honors, including 2 Meritorious Service Medals, 7 Navy Commendation Medals, 5 Navy Achievement Medals. He and his wife, Melissa, have 4 daughters and 1 son. They reside in Risukusha, I hope I pronounced that right, Matt, Japan, and the Navy home port is Yokosuka, Japan. Superintendent North, it is my honor and privilege to present for enshrinement in the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor our son, Commander Matthew E. Arnold.
Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to tonight's ceremony and thank you for your attendance in support of this tradition. It is my distinct pleasure to share the stage this evening with these esteemed ladies and gentlemen, including several of my class. I would like to first thank the selection committee for this honor. I know for certain that one cannot complete 30 years of military service without a strong support system. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank my wife, Melissa, for her love and support. She is without a doubt the rock of the family. Unfortunately, she could not be here this evening because she remains in Japan, caring for our 5 children. I'd also like to acknowledge their sacrifices as we have moved from duty station to duty station throughout my career. Luckily, they have grown into strong, resilient individuals who are capable of accomplishing anything. I would also like to recognize my mother, Jane, and my father, Bill. Thank you for your love and support throughout the years. I would not be the person I am today without your efforts. I would also like to recognize Miss Jane Osborne, my second mother, for her attendance this evening. I also have many friends in attendance, including my brother from another mother, Mr. Ernest Osborne, and Miss Heather Edwards, who I love like a sister. Unfortunately, 2 of my best friends are battling severe health problems and are unable to attend this evening. Please keep Miss Samantha Campbell and Miss Cindy Daly in your thoughts and prayers. She's here. She's here! They both mean the world to me. Additionally, I would be remiss if I did not mention all the teachers and coaches who have invested so much time and energy in helping me to develop into a functional member of society. They include Mrs. Haddock, Mrs. Polton, Mrs. Sturts, Mrs. Neal, Mr. Gibbons, the AFJROTC staff, and Coach Massey and all the football coaches, to name but a few. Their help was immeasurable and very much appreciated. Finally, I know no one completes a successful career in the military without the help and assistance of the people with which we serve. It is through our combined sacrifice that we accomplish the mission of defending this great nation. I know I've missed several people, and for this I apologize. but know that each person that I have interacted with has had a positive impact on my development. When I was notified of my selection, I must admit that I was a little confused. For some that know me well, that is not so unusual. I asked myself what I had done to deserve this selection, what I had done that was so special about my performance to warrant this recognition. It cannot be just a 30-year military career. There had to be more to it than that. There are many people who have served with distinction for many years and under more difficult conditions, and then have gone on to provide important services to the school in some form or fashion. These people include Lieutenant Colonel Maynard Spott, Chief Master Sergeant George Artuso, and Senior Master Sergeant Ronald Wolf. These patriots served their country and then chose to continue to serve in the capacity of military science instructor with the AFJ-ROTC at the high school while I attended the school. They were fine role models and mentors to me. As I continued to ask the same question, I was reminded of a quote attributed to General Douglas MacArthur when he was notified of his selection to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor. The quote is, "The award was intended not so much for me personally, as it is a recognition of the indomitable courage of the gallant Army, which had been my honor to command." While I neither seek to equate this honor with that of the Medal of Honor, nor myself with one of the greatest military leaders, I believe that the sentiment of this statement is important to recognize and is applicable here. Perhaps my selection was based upon my ability to represent all those who have come before me. It is therefore my great honor to receive this honor as a token of the school's continuing recognition of the untold millions of citizens, several thousand from this very school district alone, who have worn the cloth of this great nation and have defended it and the freedom it provides. It is my pleasure to salute all the service members, past and present in attendance, and to thank each and every one of you for your service to this nation. It has been my great pleasure to serve and to be able to continue to serve and to lead the best this nation has to offer. Thank you again for this honor and for your continued support of our troops. Thank you.
He is a 1988 graduate of Fairborn High School, where he participated on the wrestling and soccer teams. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology and Criminal Justice from the University of Dayton, a Master's of Studies in Environmental Law, and a Juris Doctorate from the Vermont Law School. He is a member of the Ohio Bar Association. He was a clerk with the U.S. Department of Justice in the Environmental Enforcement Division, a municipal counsel in Jacksonville, Florida, and an in-house corporate counsel in Ohio law firms. Since 2006, he has been with LexisNexis, where he presently serves as a solutions consultant focused on premier corporate legal accounts. He and his wife, Jackie, reside in Bellbrook with their 3 children, Shay, Mara, and Liam. Tonight, he presents his brother, Mark S. Neal, for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present Scott E. Neal.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for attending. And thanks for the introduction. I appreciate it. Tonight I have the privilege of presenting my brother to you for the Hall of Honor. I really couldn't be any more proud to do so, and I thank you for the opportunity and my brother for asking me to do so. It's a prestigious recognition for him, and it's an important moment. So I'm honored to be here on the stage with some of my former schoolmates, teammates, and friends that I've known for a long, long time. A brief moment, if I could apologize to any of the faculty, staff, and administrators who knew me maybe between 84 and 88. It's a challenging time for all of us. Those of you that read the program, I did become an attorney. It was because I was sick of hiring them. So You were all correct. Those weren't the only times that are important in our history or my family's history with the school system. It's a much longer history than 84 to 88. My father, Bill, served as a teacher and counselor in the system. My mother, Mariana, served as a teacher in the system, teaching Spanish. My brothers and I all attended Fairborn City Schools our whole lives. We practically grew up in the hallways of this very school. While my parents worked evenings grading papers or woodworking projects or developing film in the darkroom, we were running these halls and playing in the gymnasium and growing up together. We played on our sports teams. We were members of the band. We did our various activities. We wore the name of the school on our chest with pride. Many places that you go tend to fade into memory. I think your high school particularly is one of those places that you always have some very vivid memories of. I'm fortunate to have some of those memories, and this adds to some of those really, really pleasant memories that I've always had about this place and this town. I know it's an important moment to Mark and his wife Tyra, of course the dogs as well. When I read why the award was given to my brother and the other recipients here on the stage, it's for the reasons that Matt was talking about. It's their service, their achievements, and their commitment. And that's what this enshrinement is about. My brother is an outstanding example of these characteristics, and it has served him very, very well, both professionally and personally, to exhibit those. Service, the first characteristic. He serves his community and his family in many, many different ways, but I just want to focus for a minute on his service to Fairborn City Schools. In his successful career as a sports broadcaster, he has never forgotten his hometown. He goes out of his way to include information about the successes achieved by his alma mater into his programming. He's expanded that programming to include things like high school football coverage on Friday nights, calling the games himself from the booth. He made the G-Walk a topic of conversation every week. He interviewed coaches. He called the games live on air. He did post-game coverage shows. In addition, Mark is just a tremendous, kind, and friendly person, and like the rest of our family, you'll never get the Fairborn out of him. He's an advocate. He's a spokesman for his family, his school, and his hometown. When it comes to achievement, Mark exemplifies the expectations that our parents have always had of their children to success and achieve. We all did our own individual things to achieve. My brother is highly successful, a graduate with both a bachelor and a master's degree, and a nomination for the highest award in his profession, our Marconi Award. That kind of hard work that he's demonstrated and the length of time he's dedicated to this kind of a profession pays off. And it shows in his ratings, in his award nominations. They benchmark his success, like this award does tonight. Commitment, the last characteristic or the criteria for which the award was based on. Mark has been committed to a career in sports since almost birth. He's a terrific example of following your dreams and really never ever giving up on what you hope to do. There are several years between Mark and I in age, but I'll never forget growing up, him playing Nerf hoops in his room that was adjacent to mine. Early, I mean like really early, on Saturday mornings, repeatedly just slamming into the door and just banging that door against the wall, which of course was adjacent to my room. And of course doing the commentary with every shot. You can't just do the action, you've got to call the shot. It was excruciating. I hit that Nerf ball 1,000 times. I don't know, but he always found another one somehow and was always playing. He'd sit and he would just read boxfuls of baseball cards, the statistics on the back. And to this day, I swear, he can still spot off, who had what batting average, what year, what school drafted them, or what team drafted them, what school they went to. It's ridiculous, but it is remarkable. He obviously loved it, and he has always loved it. He committed himself to it, and he found a way to achieve it. Since 2000, he's been with ESPN 1410 locally. He's attended many events nationwide and participated in some amazing things. He's realizing his professional dream. He's going to historic sporting events. He's interviewing sports figures like he's always dreamed of doing. So I couldn't be more happy to congratulate you, little brother. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my privilege and honor to present my brother, my friend, Mark Neal, for our honor.
I feel a lot of pressure to be comfortable on the mic since I do this every day. But that doesn't make it any more comfortable. I'm usually not speaking to anyone except callers that berate me, but that's a different story. I'm surrounded by, first of all, thank you to the committee for even being considered for this. Was a shock, an honor, and a lot of things in between. On this stage, I'm surrounded by doctors, attorneys, educators, military personnel, and me. An on-air afternoon sports gas bag. But thank you for seeing that as an honor. As I said, I'm not used to talking in front of people, but at the same time, it's great to talk to all of you. Thank you to the committee. Thank you to my family, my incredible wife, Tyra, who's made me a better man. It's my perfect balance. My parents, who always cared, always put me and my brothers first. To my family for being just great in every way. I have lived a charmed life, and that helps success. And also to thank you to all the educators that I had through it all. Some that really stuck out to me were in my youth. 5 Points Elementary School is what it was known as then, at least. Folks like Eliza Haddix, Ed Gibbons, Ann Prasinski just really helped shape my life. So many different educators throughout my life in junior high, college, high school, graduate school. Ms. Smith, I have some stories I'll talk about later. I don't know how appropriate they'd be right now. I want to talk about the importance of education because I was immersed in it. Both my parents taught taught here, and that was what our life was about school, was about achievement. And it's, I guess, no surprise that me and both my brothers have undergrad and postgraduate degrees. That's what we did, and that's what we do. As a young person, when you're asked about school all the time, you wanted to be asked about something different. How's school? What'd you learn? How's school? What'd you learn? I want to talk about the playground, but they want to talk about school. But I understood that as it went along, that needs to be the focus. It's achievement. Sometimes you fought against that, as my brother brought up. But in the end, you see that they were right, and they helped along the way there. And education has helped mold me, certainly. I'll never forget a story my brother told me, Scott. I was complaining in high school about a course, maybe it was chemistry or biology. And I said, what do we need to learn this stuff? Maybe it was math of some kind. And he said, Mark, I don't even know if you remember this, Scott, but he said, Mark, think about this. You go into a job interview, and you're interviewing, and everything's going great, and the guy that's interviewing you makes a joke about Darwin, and you don't know who that is. And you don't laugh, and you don't know who it is, and he goes, that makes you look kind of dumb. He's like, you need to be well-rounded. It's more about knowing as much as you can and being educated about as much as possible. And that always stuck with me. First of all, I was happy that I knew who Darwin was. Secondly, he was right, and that has served me well, especially in a business like I am, where it's about talking and ad-libbing for 2 hours every day, all afternoon, in front of thousands of people. As far as getting into the business of radio, it's a lot of things. Fate, for one, desire, dedication, the hard work that has to be put in, and passion. Fate was, growing up, I wanted to be a sports writer. And for those of you under 30, a newspaper is that thing that's in your bushes that has yesterday's news in it. I was working in a job in college with a guy that worked at the radio stations that I work at now. There were 4, now there are 5 in the building. And this was in the infancy of sports radio. Really, sports radio in my youth was a station, maybe 700 WLW, that would have news talk and political talk and maybe have a sports show. And then kind of as the 90s approached, stations thought, you know, let's try to do this all day on the station. So when I got into this business in 99, it'd been around, but not really. And so we had an ESPN station in the building, but it was also a CNN station, and we ran what was called block programming. And the block programming would be a medication of some kind for bad backs, and they would talk for 30 minutes about that, or real estate shows and things like that. That's how you parceled a station like this together. So I had a kind of a clean slate station that had no real direction. And he said to me, he said, hey, I can, and this is the best advice. I actually spoke to students this morning, and I said, this is the best advice I can give you about getting not only into my field, but any field. He said, I can get you in the building. And he goes, once you get in the building, it's a lot easier to work your way through it than to try to jump in from the outside. He goes, I'll get you in, you have to make of it what you will. So I'm really that story, starting in the mailroom, now I'm the senior program director. That's how that worked. I went in there knowing that I wasn't going to be the morning show host. I knew I wasn't going to be the guy in the afternoon drive, but I started off setting up remotes and setting up equipment and things like that, and going to all kinds of different events at all kinds of different places around the Miami Valley. And then within a couple months of working there, there was a sports show that was on for a half an hour twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. This was in 2000. That's all that they did really locally. And there was 3 guys on there, and I started talking to the guys because you want to let people know that you're interested in things, you're networking within. And one of the guys left a month or so later, and they asked me, hey, you want to come on with us? So it was me and 2 other guys. And those of you that know me, this part of the story you won't be surprised by, but I did one show with them, and they're sitting in the room reading newspapers and just kind of, hey, look at this, and talking about stuff completely off the cuff. So the next show, second show that I'm there, I've been working there 4 months, I throw these big outlines in front of them. I say, here's what we're talking about, here's how we're doing it. They're looking at me like, what is this? I said, we're going to add some structure to this. Within a month, one of the 2 guys had to go because his job got to the point where he couldn't do that as well. So it was me and one other person. Wouldn't you know, 3 months later, that other guy's role in the building got bigger, and it's me alone. So to think how much fate played into this is a job that's very difficult to attain, and I effectively got it by attrition in 4 months, which was great. I'll take it. But that's rare. You know, you look at the greater Dayton area, go from Greenville to Springfield, and from Sydney to Springboro, Lebanon. There's one person that makes a living doing what I do, and you're looking at them. So it's a very difficult, very competitive field to get into, but it worked out with fate. And from there, you have to have the desire. You're really putting yourself out there doing what I do. And especially with the advent of social media, people don't hold back. They don't like what you're saying or doing. They have no problems telling you without mincing too many words. You have to be dedicated. You have to get better. My nephew wants to do something like this, and I told him, I said, do it every day. Who cares if no one listens to it but you? You have to be dedicated to what you're going to do no matter what you're doing. You got to work hard. I make sure I'm the first person there every day on my side of the building, every day. First person in, and by default, last person out. And have a passion for what you do. Always be curious. Always want to learn. Ask questions. See, my mom would always say, go look it up. Go look it up. Back when people actually look things up in books and such. Now I've got Google. But I always wanted to learn things. I always had questions. I have lots of side hobbies that are outside of sports because I've always been curious. I've always wanted more. But all in all, working in sports and radio and media has been a complete labor of love. And to get to do it in my hometown has made it all that much better. I wanted to do it here, and have had opportunities to do it elsewhere, but I don't want to. I love doing it here. I love hearing my dad say after the show about the one thing that went wrong in that 2 hours. I love them being able to listen in, or my friends being able to listen in. That makes it all that much better to do. Education and being in this school system meant the world to me as well. You need lifelong friends, and as my brother said, we grew up in this hallway. Coming back here, it's just really had a lot of memories coming back. To conclude, I want to thank everybody again. It really does. A village does raise a child. There's so many people. I mean, I couldn't even begin to rattle off the amount of people that helped me get to this honor today. And to be one of the youngest people to have this honor bestowed on this is incredibly humbling. Fairborn has and always will hold an incredibly special place in my heart. Thank you.
She is a 1972 graduate of Fairborn Baker High School, where she was a member of the National Honor and A Cappella Choir, top officer of the Fly Rat Corps, senior class secretary, student council vice president, delegate to Buckeye Girls State, and one of 4 outstanding teenagers of America. She received a Bachelor of Science in Education from Bowling Green State University and a Master in Science and Education from the University of Dayton. She taught English and Language Arts for 22 years at Fairborn High School and Baker Junior High School. She developed accelerated enrichment English courses, was the director of the Fly Rat Corps, and coached the Power of the Pen team. She was an adjunct faculty member at Sinclair Community College and is currently a freelance writer. She is a member of Phi Delta Kappa, and she and her husband Don reside in Centerville. Tonight she presents her friend and fellow teacher, Judy Smith Jagger-Mesher, for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present Kathy Russell Rader.
Good evening, honored guests, friends, Hall of Honor members. Tonight it is my pleasure to present an educator extraordinaire, the health goddess, also known as Judy Smith Jagger-Mesher, or better known to Greg as his loving wife, to Ted, Christine, Brooke, and Grant as mom, or Mama to her grandchildren, Aiden, Masaki, Audrey, and Takuma. Hailing from the Mount Gilead High School class of 1967, Judy was a member of her high school's district scholarship team, a state science winner, and the beloved Queen of the Spring Carnival. The Mount Gilead School's motto is Journey to Excellence. According to Aristotle, excellence is an art won by training. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Judy Jagger-Mesher's journey to excellence began over 60 years ago and continues to be a significant guiding factor affecting every aspect of her life. In 1971, she graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Science degree from one of the nation's top education schools, Bowling Green State University. In 1988, she was awarded a master's degree in educational administration from the University of Dayton. She joined the faculty of Fairborn City Schools in 1973, teaching primarily junior high school health and physical education. From the moment she stepped into the classroom, she assumed the difficult role of an educator, skillfully guiding students' academic, social, and moral competence. Keenly aware that not every student learns the same way or is interested in the same subjects, Judy's capacity to quickly familiarize herself with the personality and interest of each student was invaluable. This allowed her to integrate elements of her instruction to connect with each student to better enhance that student's understanding of the subject. Learning and workstations were set up around her room to facilitate different learning styles, and her lesson plans were certainly unique. In the mid-90s, Judy's passion led her to Wright State University as an adjunct professor of health education and a professor. She is currently the Wright State Health Education Program Director and a student teacher supervisor in the Department of Kinesiology and Health. She teaches many mentors and many education members at the university. Teaching excellence is critical if we expect students to succeed in our global society. Knowing that excellence is not attained without commitment and diligence, Judy is the perfect role model to show prospective educators firsthand how to be an effective teacher and demands required to achieve that feat. She instills an enduring passion for learning. She raises the bar for expectations and challenging her to students to do more than what is expected. The great teachers fill you up with hope and shower you with 1,000 reasons to embrace all aspects of life, said noted author Pat Conroy. Whether she is teaching, coaching track, directing Baker Week in Review, or coaching winning Olympics of the Mind teams, Judy encourages her students to embrace life and to embrace learning. Her motivation is to provide students with the knowledge to succeed at any endeavor. Her relationships with her students in public education and now at the university extend far behind the classroom, instilling pride, engendering confidence, diffusing enthusiasm for her subject matter, and providing her students with outlets for creative and academic ventures. She promotes a positive, health-centered environment and lifestyle and nurtures joie de vivre attitude. Beyond the confines of the classroom, she prepares students for the real world, guiding them with great ease through academic, social, and life challenges. Challenges that once appeared to her students insurmountable. Approachable and compassionate, she is a great listener, offering sage advice not only about health, but about life as well. It was not unusual to see Judy after school or outside of class engaged with the student and offering moral support or help in resolving the situation. Yes, Judy educates students, but more importantly, she teaches them the value of education. An innovative and inspirational leader, Judy has been consistently active in district, state, and national offices. And in 2015, our health goddess authored the curriculum guide for grades 6 to 12 for the Archdiocese of Cincinnati. Although she retired from Fairborn City Schools in 2006, her influence is everlasting. Remembering his days in Judy's health class, one student recalled, "She taught me sex ed. I didn't learn too much from my parents, but Mrs. Jagger Mesher surely filled in the knowledge gaps, especially in the era before the internet. It was clear that she loved to teach, and she made it easy to listen." Introducing such extraordinarily sensitive topics can be memorable for all the wrong reasons, but her unique combination of humor, candor, engagement, and patience dispelled many misconceptions while conveying important information. And few can forget the annual talent show, including the faculty performance, an act affectionately known as Manhattan Serenade, which showcased Judy and allowed her to display her flair for the dramatic with great finesse. A fascinating, collegial individual, her ingenuity is unparalleled. Often, she could be found flitting about my room, her theatrical talents front and center. She assumed the persona of a character and acted accordingly. This initiated a spontaneous brainstorming session for my composition students. The concrete verbs and descriptive adjectives flowed fast and furious. Judy has been my very dear friend for many years. Warm, kind, gracious, thoughtful. When my mother passed away, Judy was at my door. When my youngest sister was in a horrible car accident, Judy was at my side, comforting and listening, a true reflection of her personality and character. And I cherish our friendship. Aside from her talents, wits, and wisdom, she is making a difference, a real and palpable difference. Someone once said, better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. And such is the day with Judy Jagger Mesher. Superintendent North, it is my honor and distinct privilege to present for enshrinement in the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor my dear friend and colleague, Judy Jagger Mesher.
I never thought she was going to tell how old I was. Goodness gracious. You need to screen the people that are going to present you a little bit better, I guess. You reveal too many secrets. But thank you, Kathy, my dear, dazzling, hyphenated name twin. And sincere thanks to the Hall of Honors Selection Committee for presenting me with this award. Beginning with what's most important to me, I would like you to meet my family. With love and admiration, my two brothers, Jim and Dean, their lovely wives, Kathleen and Beth, my children, Ted, Christine, Brooke, and Grant, my daughter-in-law, Akiko, my soon-to-be son-in-law, woohoo, Casey, the most amazing, beautiful grandchildren ever born, Aiden, Miss Audrey, Takama, and Masaki. And my loving husband, who, believe me, does put up with a lot of abstract, random thinking, Greg. They are the ones who love me, who have become very accustomed to my craziness, But there are two people I truly wish could have been here tonight. My mom and dad, Betty Jo and Richard Jagger, who made unbelievable sacrifices to provide exemplary educational opportunities for my two brothers and me. Thanks, Mom and Dad. As a young child who was raised on a farm, I often sat on our squeaky porch swing, looked out over the rolling green farm fields, and daydreamed about becoming a princess. Well, Cinderella, to be exact, and living in a palace. Little did I know at the time that I was going to grow up to work in a palace. I spent over 30 years at Puberty Palace, AKA Fairborn Middle School, where magically 800 students going through puberty coexisted with 60 teachers and staff members, 10 of whom at any given time were experiencing the hot flashes of menopause. Yes, it does take a special person to work at a middle school. At times, the mission of engaging 12 and 13-year-olds in meaningful learning was daunting. But as Pearl Buck once said, only the brave should teach. Only those who love the young should teach. Teaching is sacred. Teaching, believe me, is not for the timid. Those of us who love teaching don't let anyone discourage us from our mission. We simply fluff out our tutus and dance into the hearts and minds of our students to awaken in them possibilities they might never have considered. When I think back to my Fairborn health and physical education classrooms, I see a classroom that sometimes could have been described as there appears to have been a struggle. I see moments of learning that were not on the actual lesson plans, such as a day that I accidentally set my acrylic nails on fire during a little experiment that involved a lighted match. Upon hearing one of my students, "Mrs. Jaggermasher, you're on fire," I thought the student was complimenting my teaching strategy, and I cavalierly responded, "Oh my, yes, I am on fire today." And he shouted again, "No, your fingernails are on fire." And so, a tobacco prevention lesson got a little bonus lesson in humility and fire safety. Or the day while demonstrating a move on the balance beam, I lost my balance, and I literally became wedged horizontally between the wall of the gymnasium and the beam. Empathy for those who have suffered extreme embarrassment became the teachable moment that day. Engaging students in learning often requires the deployment of, well, let's just call them unique teaching strategies, where the Fruit Loop in a bowl of Cheerios, you do things like sing a hearty but slightly off-keyed rendition of Aretha Franklin's R-E-S-P-E-C-T to punctuate the relationship between good character and healthy behaviors. You proudly prance around the room as a renowned intergalactic goddess of health dressed in a lavender tutu with a sparkling magic wand. You transform yourself into the mad scientist who combines vinegar and baking soda to graphically illustrate the synergistic effect of drugs. You convince two innocent new student teachers to join you dressed as Diana Ross and the Supremes, pop out of the gymnasium closet singing and dancing to "Stop in the Name of Love" to create student interest in an upcoming dance unit. And well, just let me say, yes, Ophelia Ovum and Sammy Sperm, decked out in his swimming cap and swimming goggles, were standard props during my sexuality education unit. But my most cherished memories are, and always will be, my students. Their smiles, their laughter, their stories, their highly creative excuses, and their wide-eyed aha moments of learning success. You see, my students were my kids. I worried about them. I unconditionally loved them. And even though there were a few days when I thought I might need to unleash the flying monkeys, I never did. Per my calculations, I must have taught over 10,000 students in my 33 years at Fairborn. As far as I know, most of those children have gone on to lead perfectly normal lives, as evidenced by the ones that are up here on the stage with me tonight. I am incredibly proud to say that I taught at Fairborn City Schools, and I worked with teachers, principals, counselors, nurses, custodial staff, bus drivers, librarians, secretaries, food service personnel, coaches, administrators, parents, and community members whom I respected and I loved. To my students, I will always have a piece of my heart that smiles every time I think about you. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. And God bless those of you who have been part of my first 46 years of teaching. Thank you.
She is a 1956 graduate of Fairborn High School, where she was vice president of the senior class, co-editor of the yearbook, delegate to Buckeye Girls State, and a member of the National Honor Society, student council, newspaper staff, band, and orchestra. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in education and a master's degree in communications from The Ohio State University. She taught at East and South Elementary schools, tutored students with learning disabilities at Black Lane Elementary, and was the 1994 Teacher of the Year at East Elementary. She was active in the Rony Hills Civic Association, Right Pad Officers Wives Club, Mayor's Beautification Committee, and OSU Alumni Club of Greene County, receiving a OSU Best Buckeye Award. She was inducted into this Hall of Honor in 2008. Tonight she presents her son, Lieutenant Colonel John W. Hobbs, for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present Judy Kyle Hobbs.
First of all, I have a request for the audience. I am an aging senior citizen, and I have a lot of trouble hearing sometimes. So if you are seated anywhere in the auditorium and you can't hear us, we can try adjusting the microphone. So give some kind of a sign that I can't hear you. Okay? Thank you. I am here tonight to present to you Lieutenant Colonel John William Hobbs, a retired Air Force officer and currently a Southwest Airlines pilot. John was born at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He was a student in the Fairborn schools from kindergarten through grade 12. As parents, John's father and I agree that Fairborn was an ideal place to bring up our three sons, John, Jim, and Joe. They had outstanding teachers and fine educational experiences. And in those days, we had excellent neighbors, friends, other parents. We all pitched in and helped with all kinds of projects at school, in scouting, in sports. It was just a fine group of people to grow up with. So son John and his brothers had many good role models. John graduated in 1984 from Fairborn High School, where he was a member of the National Honor Society and Quill and Scroll. He played soccer and was in varsity club. He served as a class officer and was editor-in-chief of the school newspaper, The News Hawk. He was a delegate to Buckeye Boys State. He became very interested in serving his country after we came back from Buckeye Boys State, and he applied for the Air Force Academy. He received an appointment and had many fantastic experiences in his 4 years at the Air Force Academy, including being selected as an exchange student in Lima, Peru. He graduated from the Academy in 1988 with a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering, and later earned a Master of Management degree from Webster University in St. Louis, Missouri. After completing pilot training, his first assignment was flying that giant B-52 in Operation Desert Storm. He then transitioned to the KC-10 tanker unit and flew strategic air refueling and airlift missions around the world. He completed his active duty service and joined the Air Force Reserves at Scott Air Force Base, where he flew aeromedical evacuation missions and VIP airlift missions, taking various Congress people and VIPs and even a First Lady around the world. He retired with 22 years of service in the Air Force. He then was hired as a pilot with Southwest Airlines and soon was promoted to captain. He recently was selected for a position in which now involves training and evaluating other pilots at Southwest. John has also served as a very dedicated community volunteer in many school, church, sporting, and scouting activities. For many years, he has been the coordinator for numerous high-adventure activities where he has been taking groups of boys for like 12 days of backpacking. So that's very good that he has helped so many scouts. One of John's favorite volunteer activities was serving for 9 years as a mentor in Southwest Airlines' Adopt a Pilot program. This was an award-winning program where he would visit 5th grade classrooms and teach the young students about his vocation and motivate them to set and achieve their goals. And I'm going to share a little story with you. One time when we were visiting John and his family, I had the opportunity to visit a classroom where he was teaching that day. I was very impressed with how he was teaching them how, as a pilot, even you need science and math and communication skills. The students seemed very interested and seemed to be learning lots. At the end of the session, he asked if anyone had any questions they could ask him. Well, one eager young boy raised his hand and asked, "What was the scariest time you ever had as a pilot?" John immediately replied, "I cannot answer that question. Today I can't answer it because my mother is in the classroom. Please save your question until next week." Yes, I am sure there are many scary times that this worrisome mother has had. There were very scary times, and mothers tend to worry and have many sleepless nights worrying about our offspring, no matter whether they're a day old or 50 years old. I am sure there are many mothers here who would agree with me. John and his lovely wife, Sherry, recently celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. They currently reside in Colorado Springs with their 3 fine sons. Superintendent North, it is my honor and privilege to present for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor our son, John W. Hobbs.
Well, certainly, thanks, Mom. I mean, come on. Picking your mom to introduce you here, who's a bigger fan, right? Perfect. I'd also really like to recognize my dad, John R. Hobbs. I know he's been very involved with the school district here. In fact, served on the school board for several years when we were younger. My beautiful wife, Sherry, like you said, 25 years, and my awesome brother, Jim, and his wife, Donna. And then we got Connie and Muriel, who also ventured out in the storm. Thanks, guys, for making it from my mom's side of the family. Appreciate that. Well, like I said, certainly want to start with thanking my amazing presenter, who's truly been my #1 supporter for all 50 of my years. She and my dad have always set an awesome example of getting involved and making their community better. It really helps that she is also a well-deserved enshrinee from the class of 2008, where I had the great privilege of presenting her. We're even. I'm truly humbled and honored and feeling a little unworthy up here with these tremendous, accomplished individuals. But I really appreciate the opportunity to be back in Fairborn to catch up with lots of old friends. I also must thank Barb Parsons for the preparation she put in for tonight. It's hard for me to think of high school without remembering her, as she was always so involved with our class. In fact, I just happen to have a copy here of the May 18th, 1984 Newshawk newspaper, and it's got Barb Parsons right there on the front page where she was honored, right? She was honored with a good friend and classmate of mine, Terry DePiro. They were both elected in consecutive years as Citizen of the Year. So, thanks, Mrs. Parsons. Some other Fairborn High School teachers and mentors that have really stood out to me. Mr. Bob Jones, man, could he teach math that I could actually understand. I mean, the guy was amazing. I really could have used him in my engineering classes at the Air Force Academy. Mrs. Edna Norvell, her world history class really inspired my desire to see and experience the world. And then finally, Mrs. Roberta Gunderson, who was our advisor to the Newshawk school paper. I was fortunate enough to be editor-in-chief, and I can't begin to tell you how effective she was as both a mentor and a leadership coach. As a parent and scout leader, I know what a challenge it is to teach young people how to be effective leaders. It's a balancing act that she really excelled at. Being so close to Wright-Patterson and knowing so many amazing military families, not to mention my dad, who retired as a lieutenant colonel, were all factors in my desire to serve. But it really wasn't until I attended Buckeye Boys State and heard an impassioned speech from a veteran that motivated me to really want to serve my country. It was one of those moments where you're just almost to tears and you feel so proud and blessed to be an American. While not all stories are suited for mothers that worry, like she was talking about, one of my most memorable experiences, I'll go ahead and share one with you guys. It happened on a B-52 mission during Desert Storm. Our crew had successfully hit our target in Baghdad, and we were on our way back to our deployment base, which is all the way in England. Now, obviously, Baghdad and England, very long way apart, right? The round-trip flight in a B-52 was approximately 14 to 15 hours, and it required 2 big air refuelings where we would link up with a KC-135 tanker to take our fuel on board. I think the one inbound was like 90,000 pounds when we had all the bombs on board, and then coming home it was 60,000 pounds to get home. Well, we hit our target, we were coming back, we linked up with our tankers over the eastern Mediterranean, and as the co-pilot, it was my job to go open the air refueling doors. I threw the switch, per the checklist, just like hoping everything would work normally, and nothing. Of course, we recycle it, try circuit breakers, try to get our air refueling doors open again. Nothing happened. Very low on fuel, we were running out of options quickly, and certainly did not want to rely on our 1950s technology ejection seats to get us safely to the ground. So we made the decision to divert to Cairo on the Captain's Emergency Authority as big B-52 bombers were certainly not approved through the Egyptian diplomatic channels. Well, we were able to make the airfield, pretty much landed on fumes, and touched down right after sunrise. Unsure of what kind of diplomatic trouble we had stirred up, we cautiously came to a stop on the old dusty ramp, and we opened our hatch. To our surprise, we were greeted by a Milwaukee Guard unit that had deployed to that location, and they met us with a huge American flag and the news that a ceasefire had just been declared. I tell you, that was quite the emotional roller coaster. Other highlights from my military career would include flying the KC-10 tanker. I mean, tanking fighters, a flight of 6 F-15s across the ocean. You just look out there and you see the fighters. It's just awesome. Very cool. Operation Restore Hope, another big operation where we would shoot challenging approaches into Mogadishu, Somalia, to get Marines into the fight. We'd bring 170 Marines fully loaded up. In my opinion, those Marines, those guys are the real heroes. And then I flew the C-9, big transition from starting my career flying B-52s, dropping bombs, going to the C-9, where our job was aeromedical evacuation, saving lives. So very proud of the fact that we would transport our wounded servicemen and women, get them to the critical care we needed. I mean, who can forget some of the urgent air evacs that we would get picked off and called on to do last minute, kind of like an air ambulance. One time I picked up a preemie, little baby, at Fort Hood, and we were taking him to the neonatal care in San Antonio. Only about a 40-minute flight. I think we did it in about 25 minutes. We were hauling. But this baby fit in the doctor's hand, and the doctor had to stand the entire time and manually respirate the little infant with his finger. Or the other time when we got picked off to go to Fort Campbell in Kentucky to pick up a young Army soldier that had been bitten in the field by a brown recluse spider, and he developed third-degree burns and kidney failure. And then our mission kind of transitioned to carrying our nation's leaders, where we started flying VIP transport. And that was pretty cool, too. Some really great missions, because as you know, Congress, they usually don't go to bad places. So we got to see a lot of the world and spend some good times there. So we carried members of Congress, and one of my last trips in the Air Force, I even carried First Lady Michelle Obama. While patriotism definitely drove my desire to serve initially, the camaraderie and lifelong friendships certainly made it the right move for me and motivated me to serve the 22 years. In fact, friends and classmates, Carl Mayberry and Bob Bjorn, had very similar careers where they also flew in the Air Force and then transitioned to a career with the airlines. And we got Dean Christopher. While Dean never flew the jets, he turned the wrenches that kept them flying safely. Those mechanics are worth their weight in gold. As my mother mentioned, I truly enjoyed all the years that I served as an adopted pilot mentor. I'm in my 19th year now at Southwest Airlines and feel incredibly blessed to be part of a great company doing a job I really love. Our family loves to travel, and we really take advantage of all the travel benefits. And as you heard, we just recently moved to Colorado, and we're loving the mountains, loving the mountain lifestyle. So far, my proudest accomplishment, though, would have to be my family. I'm very proud of all three of my boys. All three are Eagle Scouts and outstanding students, thanks to their amazing mother, Sherry. Unfortunately, they're all very busy with school and could not attend this evening. John Edward, my oldest, is in his third year at the Air Force Academy and wants to fly. Sound kind of like me. Kyle is studying computer science in the honors program at Colorado State, and Brian is a high school sophomore in the honors program there who had a big swim meet this weekend. Having three Eagle Scouts, you can tell that Boy Scouts has been a huge part of our lives. We certainly credit the organization with helping to raise our boys. I served as the High Adventure Coordinator for our troop and planned several really big trips to include Philmont Scout Ranch, which is a 12-day backpacking trek in the New Mexico mountains. In fact, I'm going for my third time in June with my youngest, so Wish me luck. This old bod doesn't sleep on the ground that well anymore. We've been to Boundary Waters, Minnesota, a week of wilderness canoeing up on the Minnesota-Canadian border. Sea base, that was really tough duty, where you got to crew a sailboat in the Florida Keys for a week. And then Summit Bechtel in West Virginia, great facility in the West Virginia mountains. It's so rewarding to watch these spirited boys enter as young Cub Scouts and see them mature through the years into fine young men of outstanding character. And on that note, I suppose that's what we're celebrating here tonight. While all of our journeys have led us in different directions to very different destinations, we are all so fortunate to share this amazing community of Fairborn as our common bond. Again, a huge thank you to you, Mr. Gibbons, and the entire committee for this tremendous honor.
He is a 1987 graduate of Fairborn High School, where he was a member of the National Honor Society, yearbook staff, choirs, and French Club. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication Studies in 1994 from Wright State University, where he was named Distinguished Graduating Senior. He was a flight attendant for United Airlines, held executive positions at James Mutual Funds, Quiznos, and the Aveda Corporation, and is currently serving as Director of Sales and Marketing for the Boston Stoker Coffee Company. He is a professional pianist, a design specialist, and is a member of the Dayton Philharmonic Volunteer Association Board of Trustees and the Dean's Leadership Board of the Wright State University College of Liberal Arts. Tonight, he presents his friend, Dr. Andrew D. Phelps, for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present John J. Stanton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished honorees, friends, and family. I'd really like to start this evening by discussing politics and our current world affairs. Thank you. Thank you for the laugh. I was afraid you might be asleep by this point, but I'm here. Tonight I'm here to present Dr. Andrew D. Phelps. Andy is the clinical director for eye care services with 360 Care and is the co-founder of the Mission for Sight Medical Mission. Andy graduated with me in 1987 from Fairborn High School, where he was a member of the National Honor Society, the Quill and Scroll, and editor of the newspaper, captain of the varsity soccer team, and delegate to Buckeye Boys State. He received a degree in pre-medicine in 1991 from the University of Dayton and graduated in 1995 from the Ohio State University College of Optometry. He was also a member of the Epsilon Psi Epsilon fraternity while there. In 1998, Andy founded On Healthcare to provide eye care to nursing home residents in Central Ohio, and in 2005, the company added dental, podiatry, and audiology care to serve 6 states and 700 nursing homes. In 2016, they merged with 360 Care and now provide services to 15 states. In 1999, Andy co-founded the Mission of Sight nonprofit medical mission serving the people of Jamaica, man. He's provided thousands of eye, God, that goes on and on, doesn't it? Has provided thousands of eye exams and over 200 eye surgeries, and Andy has donated over 900 pair of glasses to the mission. Andy is a strong proponent of volleyball and a strong player himself. He founded the men's volleyball program at UD and has coached the boys and girls championship volleyball teams at St. Francis de Sales High School in Westerville. From 2012 to 2014, he was the Ohio Boys Volleyball Association president. He and his beautiful wife, Patty, have 3 children. Evan, a sophomore at St. Francis University, Amy, a senior at DeSales who will be going to UD, and Adam, who's a 6th grade student going on 35 years old. I know, I dined with him the other night. They live in Westerville, Ohio. So this is my part. Andy and I met in 1974, just prior to kindergarten. And you're giving a speech about a friend. You think, what's pertinent? What do I want to say? I want to keep you guys awake. I don't want to go on too long. And so I won't go on with this one, but I can tell you my first memory was of Herman the worm. Herman, oh Herman, and Herman came to me. Andy told this joke, please understand. He not only told a funny joke, it's a shaggy dog, so it goes on and on at the end, you want to shoot him. But it wasn't just telling the joke, it also involved sticking your tongue here, and Herman was this long. Later, if you'd like to hear the full joke, we still do it. But that is my first, and that sense of humor took us through school. We were both very hyperactive children. I'm certain that we weren't actually, I don't think, diagnosed. I don't know, were we diagnosed with ADD? But that is absolutely what it was. But instead of giving us medication, our parents kept us busy. If you have that energy, go do something. Andy was very naturally an athlete. If you've ever seen him jump off a high dive at Rona Hill Swim Club, which is no longer, but he had the skills. And he's also an amazing soccer player and quite a volleyball player. I, not so much. Thanks to Andy, I've learned that I do not have binocularity, which is the ability for the eyes to work together. So I know a ball is coming at me, and I know that it's going to hit me, but exactly when and where is just slightly out. So I stayed at home with the piano. It didn't move, and it certainly didn't kick back. And I'm happy I did. Because for years, when I was lead pianist with Nordstrom, I played in Westerville, and so every weekend I spent with the Phelpses in Westerville in the Stanton room downstairs. After third grade, Andy and I weren't allowed to be in the same classroom together. And the problem was, the teachers would love to separate us, but when you separate two clowns, there's nothing but a captive audience between them. So after that, we actually were back together in Mr. Kearney's class in 8th grade, and I believe I was cute and you were adorable. That's right. Mr. Kearney had a list of if you were smart, a smart aleck, he would decide what you were, and adorable was here. But we always had a good time, and the thing about it was Andy has been a constant support to me. In fact, 31 years ago today, in this very auditorium in the back hallway, I learned that my mother died at about 10 o'clock in the morning. And there were a few people that gathered around me and supported me through that really tragic loss for me at the time. For those of you who knew my mom, she was really cool and loved by many people. But Andy was right there as a support and always has been, really. We maintained our friendship through college, and in fact, we rappelled off a building when he moved into, was it Founders or Stewart? Founders? Yeah, he moved in with Greg in the back, Rank, glad to see you. And we spent 4 years in his undergraduate together, the degree, while I was at Wright State, and we'd party on the weekends in the ghetto where he built a huge volleyball court. There's a story to that too, not this time. In fact, when I became a flight attendant with United immediately following my graduation from college, I begged my supervisor to let me go to this wedding, and I sold it as it was. This is one of my oldest friends in the world, and I must be there. I wasn't actually in the wedding because you couldn't be sure that I'd be there, as you know about flying. They don't let you out of anything. But I flew home and actually made it to their wedding, which I'm so glad for. And so that was another part of the beautiful story. In the past, 15 years, Andy and I have redesigned his home with Patty. We've redesigned his first eye office, and then one afternoon he took me to this huge medical building that just had a cement floor and nothing but girders and metal ceiling, and a little line was drawn around, and he said, we're going to have to design an eye office. So we designed and built an iOffice together. That sounds really amazing, but it's even more amazing when you consider that Andy and I have never had an argument. We've disagreed and we thought different things, but absolutely never a moment of cursing or anger or frustration with each other. There's been nothing but support. In our time, both of us have experienced a personal crisis. And it's the surety that one will be right by your side at a moment's notice with one phone call is indeed a treasure in this world. It's no surprise that Andy is honored. He's just simply one of the best friends I've ever had and will ever know. Judging on his past experience you've seen in the book, you know. But back to the political thing. They say it takes a village, and in this case it does. Andy was raised in Rona Hills with me, with two of the most amazing parents that I've ever known myself. John, who just recently retired, although I saw him working at Andy's this week, so he's not really retired. And his mother, Dr. Cindy Phelps, who will kick me later. Two parents that, if you know the Phelpses, you know, those kids were so well cared for and given the best example to live by. Neighbors and friends, and the Hobbs, for instance, just lived around the corner from us. I see the Pinellas back there. Those people cared for all of us in Rona Hills. We didn't just have a set of parents. We had parents and then all the other parents. So if you did anything wrong, your parents knew about it before you got home and probably met you at the door. You know, good people are always around, surround themselves with wonderful people, and Andy could not have found a more beautiful and wonderful wife in Patty. The moment I met Patty, she was a friend to all of us, all of our friends. Sometimes the girlfriends aren't immediately taken in, but Patty was. She was immediately our friend, and will always be. Evan, Amy, and Adam are fine examples of what wonderful parents they are. So it goes on and on. I'm keeping my eye on you, though, Adam. Andy was also inspired by people in the community, and especially John Hubel and Jerry Neely, who both worked on my eyes as well. He also surrounds himself with those who are less fortunate. Having myself done mission work and gone to developing countries to aid in people's lives, I know that Andy's heart is in the mission work that he does in Jamaica, and he's been doing it for so many years. I would ask, if you haven't done that, don't take a vacation. Go do a mission. It'll be the best vacation you've ever had. He also takes a look after the kids he coaches, and believe me, when he's obviously coached me before, reminding me to stretch and breathe. But the kids that he has inspired and the teams that he's taken to state contests are a testament to his fine work and what an amazing individual he is. What a beautiful life he has created. He's committed to helping others see. So Superintendent North, friends and family, it is my honor and distinct pleasure to present the enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, my dear friend and former classmate, my Yankee Doodle Andy, who was born on the 4th of July, Andrew David Phelps.
This is a very humbling honor, especially given the accomplishments of the colleagues here on the stage, the other classmates, educators. Thank you to the committee for having me here. I got to say, Mrs. McDavid would be extremely proud of me. I sat still for, it's got to be close to an hour, I don't know, but that might be the first time that's ever happened. I believe I'm here not by, a single great act, but by being really busy. I just have kept busy, and that started, as Jay mentioned, because my parents pretty much insisted that I was. I didn't really have a choice. Couldn't just be a soccer player. I had to be involved in the News Hawk. I had to go to Buckeye Boys. I had to do other things. And as I reflected on my time here at high school in Fairborn, I really think that Newshawk was something that had a bigger impact on me than I maybe had realized at the time. Just learning to communicate with other people, learning to have a work ethic that's a little bit different than your schoolwork or your athletics. It was really impactful. So I want to encourage any students that might be here or parents of students, get them involved in something outside of their primary interest. It really will help them with other relationships. Because at the end of the day, your impact on the world is a collection of all your actions. So the more positive actions you can have, even if they're small, will carry on and make a difference in your community. Speaking of communities, Fairborn has been a great community for me. Can't imagine a better place to grow up. The Fairborn City Schools have been fantastic for my foundation, my fundamental development, and mostly because they exposed me to great people. It started with kindergarten. Mrs. Kearney, she had these giant monster ABCs in her room. She had a hamster giving birth in the middle of class, and I started yelling out, "Look at Mrs. Kearney, she's popping them out." And she never stopped teaching me. She lived down the street from us in Rona Hills, and I would go, either help her with pets or mow her grass, when I was in high school, and she never stopped trying to get me to behave. So, it started in kindergarten and she kept going. Mrs. McDavid, who I already mentioned, she understood that desk was like torture to me, and she would let me lay in the back of class and take my assignments or sit at the windowsill and read. She really helped me to be able to find different ways to concentrate and function. Miss Moore at Fairborn High School with chemistry inspired us to find other ways to solve problems, to never settle for the assumption, pushed us to apply to the highest level of colleges that we could apply to. We worked in groups, and she fostered that teamwork effect. And I really remember her chemistry classes as a positive moment for me. Mr. Turwood, my soccer coach, he really didn't know anything about soccer, but he really did teach me a lot about perseverance and how consistent and persistent work ethic, if you continue it over time, and you continue to do it over time, and I think he made us run 3 miles before practice and after practice. So it really does have an impact, and that when you face adversity, if you've trained consistently and persistently, the adversity will seem a lot smaller than if you haven't trained. All my great lifelong friends that I can name tons of, my college roommate Greggy here, obviously Jay. And Jay, the story about us never getting in a fight, I mean, it's pretty close. But you did raise your voice at me the one time when your back patio was completely engulfed in flames. But I mean, I got it put out. I got it put out, so it's all good. And whether it was as a clinician or an entrepreneur or a youth sports coach or volunteer, I've always carried that Fairborn lesson that when you surround yourself with great people, you have a better chance of success. And as Jay mentioned, it started when I got married to Patty. Hi, dear. Love you. Obviously, I have great parents in John and Cindy. Hi, Mom. Really proud of my kids. Evans at St. Francis, as Jay mentioned, playing Division I volleyball and studying business. Amy's interested in an optometry career, going to UD, studying pre-med. And Adam's got a lot of time. We'll work it out eventually. Poor Adam tonight. The start of my clinician career, Patty, was instrumental because we had dated in undergrad, and I told her I'm not getting married until I get out of school, so I went another 4 years. And she was happy about that. But after I graduated optometry school, we got married. She was very supportive of my last couple of years in optometry school because she had a job and could take me to dinner and things like that. I was a broke student. And then when I was a resident, I was still broke, and she had a job and was able to keep me dressed and fed and all those kind of things. So. Then when I started my business, I had a vision for this mobile optometry business, and then I had a vision for other professions within that. She was my first assistant, so she would go out with me in the field, and thankfully we grew so I could hire people, and we could stay married. Because it's hard to work together for long periods of time. And then she's always supported me in my volunteer work with my friend Doug. And she's gone down. In fact, this last trip we took in March, I think the whole clinic saw 200 people in 2 days. And they said Patty was the first person to go down and volunteer in the kitchen. So we feed people because they're there all day. So she's a giving person and has rubbed off on me quite a bit. Now the coaching thing, it took her a while to get supportive of that. I still remember the day I said, "Hey honey, DeSales wants to start a boys volleyball program," and they asked me if I would help, thinking that they had a coach and I was just gonna teach them the game. It was just a teacher who didn't know volleyball. She's like, "Well, you're not gonna be the coach." I said, I know. And I showed up, it was me and 8 guys, and I'm like, "Where's the coach?" And I'm like, "Well, we don't have one. We thought it was you." So I stuck with them, and sticking with kids like that, they look at you like they're puppy dogs, and like, what are you going to do? Leave them? I couldn't. So now she loves it. She supports me in my coaching, and it's been a blessing to coach my own kids. But really, I enjoy mentoring the other kids and teaching them the lessons that I learned from Coach Turwood about persistence and consistent mental and physical preparation to prepare yourself for that next level. Again, I'm very honored to be up here and just to see the accomplishments of our military folks, our educators, our business people in the community. It's very humbling to be a part of it, and I thank you very much.
She graduated from Beaver Creek High School in 1977 and is currently the president and auctioneer CAI of Innovative Auctions, while also representing Iron Gate Realtors CAI as a realtor and auctioneer. She received the Iron Gate Realtors Community Service Award in 2012. She is board president of the Fairborn Chamber of Commerce and a board member of the Ohio Auctioneers Association, the Dayton Area Board of Realtors, and the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio. She is a member of the Osborne Historical Garden Club, Girl Scouts USA, Greene County Master Gardener Program, and a former board member of the Fairborn YMCA. She and her husband Doug have 4 children, John, Erica, Luke, and Andrew, and 6 granddaughters, Madeline, Gabriel, Aubrey, Willow, Amelia, and Charlotte. Tonight she presents her friend Peter E. Bates for enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor. May I present Karen Hulsman.
Good evening. We were commenting earlier that they let the auctioneer go last, so you can be assured we'll speed right through this. I'm pleased to be here tonight to present to you Pete Bates, the owner of Schwartz Jewelry and a partner in the Thiel Building Development. Pete graduated from 1979 from Baker High School, where he was a member of the choir, orchestra, band, and the Springfield Junior Symphony. He studied business and management and accounting at Sinclair Community College, where he was a member of the choir and orchestra. He joined Schwartz Jewelers, and 10 years later, he purchased the Main Street store, which still operates today. And I was very proud last Friday at the Fairborn Chamber Banquet to be honored to present Schwartz Jewelers and Pete with the Legacy Award, Fairborn Chamber's new Legacy Award for 75 years of business in Fairborn. Pete's been very active in the Fairborn community as a member of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, and he's conducted many fundraisers and been involved in the First Responders Christmas morning breakfast. He donates jewelry for numerous causes and participates in the Christmas downtown decoration and auto shows. He has served as president of the Downtown Fairborn Betterment Association and designed and built the airplanes that we all enjoy in downtown Fairborn. He also creates and sells jewelry and ornaments from the Fairborn Theater chandelier crystals donating profits to the Betterment Association. Pete is also an active member of the Sons of the American Legion, creating and donating 14-karat gold achievement awards for Ohio Legion recruiters. He is also the second vice president in the Sons of AMVETS. For the past 10 years, he's been involved with raising money for schools in the Republic of Panama, where he has a second home. He and his wife, Pam, here in the front row, reside in Enon. I met my friend Pete 30 years ago. We realized it was 30 years ago when we were reminiscing. And I say we realized it because time and life have a way of whisking right by us. And Pete remembered that it was, I was still sporting a scarf when we first met, or as I referred to it at post-chemo as my wash and dry hairdo. I met Pete out at many community events, and we soon became fast friends, going to community events and to different gun ranges. Pete is a good soul and a good friend, and my dad used to say about Pete, that young man is just good people. Over the years, he's become a trusted friend and a professional that I rely on also in my auction business to advise us on behalf of our clients on all matters related to jewelry, guns, and coins. I've spent many hours with Pete standing in the back of the store, exchanging advice, ideas, our love for Fairborn and our ideas for downtown Fairborn, and of course, politics. Actually, as I say that, it sounds like a Mayberry barbershop, doesn't it? That's a little bit. One memory that stands out for me to give you an idea of what goes on when you're standing in the back of Pete's. The morning after my dad died, I went to talk to Pete about a very important decision I was faced with, and I needed to make it quickly. Either way it was decided, it would have significant impact, and my family would either cheer me or hate me, so there was no middle ground. Pete and I talked it over in the back at the store, talked about right and wrong, doing the right thing, even though you know it'll be the hardest path. The specifics of that conversation aren't important, and quite frankly, I don't remember them because unfortunately that wasn't the only death that we had that week. But what I left that store with, I still thank Pete for today. Doing the right thing is most certainly never the easy thing. I left that store with the confidence to go do what I needed to do, not just on that matter, but make a lot of tough calls in the days and months that followed. In the big scale of things, this doesn't sound dramatic, it's certainly not remarkable, but in my opinion, this is what makes small towns cool. It's why Schwartz Jewelers just celebrated their 75th anniversary. Real people that really care and really do strive to do the right thing every day. I'm proud to call Pete my friend, and I'm so very proud to be a part of this special evening with Pete and his wife Pam, the family, and the folks from Schwartz is here in the front row. And on that note, Superintendent North, it's my honor and privilege to present enshrinement into the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor my longtime friend, Pete Bates.
Karen, thank you for attending tonight and sharing this special event with me. As you heard, Karen has been a very active part of our community for many years, and a friend of mine for 30 years. Thank you. Good evening. I would like to thank the selection committee for recognizing my accomplishments over a lifetime of community service. It feels very rewarding to have these accomplishments within our community recognized. I would not have been involved in the community without the example set by my mother, who was very dedicated to volunteer work, and my father, who instilled a very strong work ethic in me while growing up. These two factors helped fuel my community outreach efforts. I would like to thank them both. Also thank my wife, Pam. She has continually supported me in my work. Pam is also very involved in volunteer services and works hard for the state and national level American Legion Auxiliary. Also, rarely did I work alone. My staff at Schwartz Jewelry in downtown Fairborn have been part of nearly every project I have done, past and present. They have always been by my side and also believe in the concept of better community through service. This community service has allowed me to meet and work with hundreds of fine citizens. I consider this a privilege. The bylaws of the Hall of Honor read as follows. The purpose will be to recognize and honor those persons who, through their performance and achievements, reflect credit on Fairborn schools, so that present-day students may find identity with the past and establish goals for the future. The young person in our society is influenced by family, faith, and education. My background was no different. Without knowing at the time, my years in the Fairborn school system prepared me for success in the future. I didn't know what the future would bring, but through long hours and hard work, any of us can achieve happiness. My happiness can be seen in the community service work I'm being honored for tonight. To any student that might be listening to this ceremony tonight, I ask that you seize every opportunity offered to you here. This is your responsibility to yourself. Please do not take it lightly. You are surrounded by people who want you to succeed and be happy in life. Your preparation for school is the training ground for the preparation you will need in your life pursuits. By the time I graduated from high school, I was well on my way to having a solid foundation in critical thinking skills and problem solving. I was ready for my next step in life. The message here tonight is you have the opportunity to succeed in your life pursuits. Don't think that there won't be setbacks and failures along the way. Part of the success is the ability to deal with failure. How you deal with it will define the success. Thank you all for attending tonight. Your participation in this event will guarantee the connection between past and future generations. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your attendance at tonight's celebration of pride, appreciation, and inspiration. These outstanding sons and daughters of Fairborn have accomplished outstanding achievements in their chosen fields, have brought great pride to the Fairborn schools and the Fairborn community, and have made great contributions to people, communities, and causes. We're richer because their lives have touched us. May I present to you for your combined recognition, thank you, and tribute of appreciation the Fairborn City Schools Hall of Honor, Class of 2017. You may be seated for just a couple of more things. I would like to also, besides missing Kathy Barber, class of 2002, and Ron Russell, class of 2008, we missed Joyce Dennis, I think, of 2010. So Joyce, all the rest of you, thanks for the former inductees for coming out. The immediate families and special guests will be joining the inductees and presenters for the unveiling of the new plaques in the Hall of Honor hallway outside the back doors of the auditorium. You are cordially invited to the reception in the Commons on the second floor. Just follow the crowd and you'll arrive there just fine. If you need assistance, there is an elevator in the back hallway. Please sign the guest book in the Commons and consider taking a Hall of Honor nomination form. Feel free to come back to the Hall of Honor hallway outside the auditorium and to view the entire Hall of Honor. Thank you for attending tonight's ceremony, and we hope to see you at the next Hall of Honor in April 2018. Thank you very much for attending.